Soybeans being the largest overall crop grown in North Carolina is vitally important because it's grown just about in every county in the state. And so it just by its enormous footprint, is very valuable to the North Carolina economy.
But the number of farmers is relatively few. That means soybean growers rely heavily on science and technology to produce this vital crop.
We are definitely committed to growing a safe and sustainable crop. And with the population increasing dramatically and the amount of land available to us dwindling, we really have a challenge in front of us to maximize the amount of food we can put on the table while minimizing the inputs and the environmental impacts. And so to do that, we really have to access and utilize all the technology available to us.
Technology is what keeps us on the cutting edge and keeps us efficient. And innovation is what makes this country competitive over maybe cheaper economies.
Our farm is just me and my dad. 25 years ago, without the new technology so far as auto steer and all the things, we can run longer hours, start earlier, work later. It would probably take 20 people to do what we do now. I was a soil science major. What I learned at NC State is to better apply, better manage what we're doing on the land to better preserve the environment.
Soybean farmers are meticulous record keepers. They can't control the weather, but they must monitor every other factor to keep costs low and get the most yield from every acre.
It's a data-driven business, and we need to know that what worked this year will also work next year. Data matters because we base our management decisions on that data. We have to know what yielded where and also why the yields we recorded, what we could attribute them to. So data is the key to unlocking a lot of those mysteries.
Soybeans are a capital-intensive crop. Solid information drives efficiency. GPS satellites circling the Earth aid farmers in every step of production.
We take GPS soil samples in order to gain information about what's actually in the soil.
We grid sample. We take 8 cores for every 2.5 acres. We send that off to Raleigh.
The GPS soil samples give us a very detailed map of the exact nutrients that are in the soil. From that, we can decide how to plan how much lime and fertilizer we're going to need.
We then will enter that into our spreader, and at that point we will variably apply fertilizer across the field, putting the fertilizer where it is needed, not applying too much and not applying too little.
Margins are tight on soybeans right now, so we have to get top yields with as little input cost as possible.
It has dramatically dropped our fertilizer use, which means it became profitable by not using as much fertilizer. And then you get what you want, where you want, and when you want.
But it's not really surprising. Stem canker normally is a late season disease. We don't really expect stem canker to show up, certainly not before they start blooming.
Crop scientists at NC State University and the U.S. Department of Agriculture are critical partners for soybean producers. Every year brings new challenges. Crop scientists strive to understand them and share that knowledge with farmers. A field day brings farmers and scientists face to face.
We're trying to tell the farmers what's going on. What have we learned that they've got an interest in knowing about? It may be stuff that we've learned from research that they've funded.
Soybean growers help fund crop research through what's called the checkoff.
For each bushel of soybeans that a grower will produce, a certain amount of pennies would come out of that bushel, and it goes to the soybean checkoff.
The soybean board is governed by farmers, and they're looking at how these dollars are spent into projects that are going to benefit North Carolina soybean growers.
That money has a very specific purpose. It can only be used in research and market development.
Research is probably one of the in my opinion, most important things that the checkoff is doing. We can use what was learned from research and try it with our crop and see how it works.
Research is so important because every year there's always a new problem, whether it's a new weed or a new disease. There's always an issue, and so research every year is going to change, and you're going to have to continue on researching different problems every year to make sure you find a solution for the North Carolina soybean grower so that he can grow more bushels per acre.
The main use for soybeans here in the United States is to feed animals. It's mixed up, ground up into soybean meal and put into to feed hogs, chickens, cattle. So it really goes to help build higher protein levels for human consumption.
Some North Carolina farmers specialize in growing soybeans that will be used for seed to plant future crops. Others grow soybeans to feed people.
North Carolina soybeans go all over the world, anywhere from right here in North Carolina to as far as China, Japan, anywhere in the world. Our soybeans leave straight from our field, go to Virginia to a cleaning facility, are loaded onto containers, put on barges, and sent all over the world.
North Carolina's soybean producers play a vital role in the economy and in feeding the world. The challenges are great, but the rewards are many.
A family farm that's run like a business is a great way of life. A farm run like a way of life is not a very good business.
There's not a gambler in Vegas that gambles any harder than a farmer in North Carolina does. It's a roll of the dice every day.
It's a wonderful way to make a living. No guarantees you're going to get wealthy or even be comfortable, but it is a fantastic way to make a living. You're doing something different every day, and just being outside, being in nature, and enjoying all the gifts that God has given us here.